Hi guys, hope you all are doing well. This is Radhika here again, and today I want to make a video on which is the next thing in the emotion series. So, the emotion I wanted to discuss today was anxiety, and these are tips on how to deal with it. So, the emotion of anxiety is kind of like worry on steroids. It's panic. It's like worry that's so fast that you do not have time to process it mentally, and before you know it, it flips your body over to the sympathetic nervous system. That's the flight or fight response. So, it's an emotion that you can't actually logically understand it. You cannot work with it. It takes control of you, of your body, before your thoughts can reach it. Something gets triggered, and suddenly you feel unsafe, and suddenly this emotion of anxiety, it takes over your body. So basically that's the problem with this emotion. It's so fast that your body starts reacting to it before you can handle it. And so the vibration of anxiety is restlessness. You feel very restless, uncertain. You don't feel certainty. Unsafe. You don't feel safety. It's an unsafe emotion. You want to run away from it as soon as possible. Uncertain, fast, quick, and out of control. So you have no control. So yeah, this is the kind of vibration and frequency of this emotion. And communication in this emotion is not clear, it's not certain, it's uncertain. And that's not because you do not have the will to talk. It's mostly because your energy is so scattered and so all over the place that it becomes very difficult to articulate feelings when you're feeling anxious. Um, yeah, so for me personally, anxiety, I can describe what it feels like to me. It feels like a hot flash to me, because my temperature suddenly rises, and that's, I think, because when the sympathetic nervous system kicks in, the heart starts beating very fast and the blood pumps a lot more, so you have increased blood pressure. And for me, I feel extremely hot when I'm anxious, and it runs through my body and it kind of lands on my cheeks, and my cheeks start getting red first here, and then they get red all the way around. So basically it somehow comes and lands here. I don't know why. But yeah, so basically it makes my cheeks red and hot, and so hot that I actually feel like I might just burn if I touch it. So it becomes that hot. Um, and for me, it manifests that way. But other than that, I am fully functioning. So I just know that my cheeks have turned red. But other than that, my thoughts are happening, my speech is happening. I can operate. Of course, I'm confused. My thoughts are not clear, and I'm not feeling safe in that environment. But other than that, I'm fine. But this can actually manifest in different ways for different people. So some people sweat, some people start stammering, some people completely get dumbfounded. They are not able to process. It's kind of like they get stuck, in that moment. They're stuck in that moment. Not able to speak is another one, not able to express. So it can manifest in different ways for different people who face anxiety. Then there are various. So after this happens, after the anxiety kicks in, basically concentration reduces. You cannot concentrate. You cannot concentrate so much on answering. You cannot concentrate so much on thinking. You cannot be in the now. And you go into some weird state in which you are simply trying to make yourself feel okay again. You're trying to subside the panic inside yourself, but it might not be very apparent to the people around you. So you might appear kind of dazed out or not so much in the situation. And that's because you're trying to deal with this feeling of panic. Um, and yeah, you feel like it's the best thing to do right now would be to leave this situation, or if it's like a confrontation situation, to fight it if you want to, or run away from it. So that's what the sympathetic nervous system does. It puts you in that guarded mode, like you have to fight for your life. So there are various scenarios in which anxiety can happen to a person, and it's mostly because of a trigger. And this trigger comes from something that has been unresolved inside your energy system for a long, long time. And it might be with a memory from your childhood or from your past, or sometimes it's also from your recent past, like uh, military men or someone who has faced like a life-threatening situation, like a robbery or something traumatic of that sort, where you fear for your life, that kind of a situation. So basically, if you have been through that, you will have some anxiety. I mean, it is very well known that if you have been through such a situation, you might have some anxiety, and that is a very common after effect of such a situation. Another thing that can trigger your anxiety sometimes is a memory from your past, like from your distant past. So it might be when you were a child, you were bullied, or your parents were maybe overprotective of you, or maybe they expected too much out of you, or maybe you had narcissistic parents who did a variety of these things and you have anxiety because of that. um, yeah, so basically, and it can also be because of the social situation, your schooling, the bullies in your school, or basically all of these things. So if we actually break it down, um, this can happen to a person in various situations, and those situations can be like when you feel put on the spot. Like if you were bullied when you were a child, you felt put on the spot because everyone was laughing and making fun of you and things like that. It could also be if you are scared of something like public speaking, and that might be because someone made fun of you when you were a child and you used to speak probably not so clearly or something like that. um, it might also be it might also get triggered when you see a person from your past which you are not too proud of, or a bully from your past. It can be near dominating people who remind you of the bullies who bullied you. It can also be it can also actually be near someone who has the same kind of energy, like a domineering presence. And you just feel like, I don't want to be in this situation, because you get triggered with the past where you were in such a kind of a situation and you were unaware, and slowly you became the target of the bully. So yeah, so because of all these things, anxiety can be triggered, and anxiety is an emotion which comes because something has been unresolved for a long, long time, and this is mostly a memory. So I'm not talking. I mean, I'm just focusing on the childhood cases now. When it's the traumatic cases, there is I mean, usually you always get some help, some psychiatric help after a traumatic incident, and that might be the best way to go. But yeah, I'm just going to concentrate on the childhood part of it. So yeah, so basically, it might be with a memory of um, being threatened or bullied, or memory of being hit physically, and what all of this means. Or maybe you had a family in which your opinions were never valued. So whenever you gave an opinion, everyone kind of pounced on you, like a narcissistic family where you're the scapegoat, and you just give a suggestion and everyone has to break that suggestion down and put you down by putting your suggestion down. So what happens is basically it is related with the past where a part of your being was threatened. So, this part of your being could be your body, it could be your thoughts, it could be your intelligence, it could be your looks. It's basically any part that you consider to be of you. So, that's a part of your ego. So, if say I am an Indian and for some reason I am raised in, say, an American family, and throughout my childhood I have been made to feel bad about being an Indian. And I mean, this is just a hypothetical example, I'm just trying to explain it. So when I grow up, whenever someone calls me an Indian, I feel threatened. And I feel threatened because someone has threatened my Indianness since the time I started understanding this world. So basically, I am threatened by it because I feel being Indian is a part of me. I take it to be a part of me. I take it to be a part of my individuality, my uniqueness in this world. And when that uniqueness is threatened, I feel threatened because I identify with that uniqueness, with that aspect of my being so much that I feel threatened if someone says something to it. So yeah, basically it could be your thoughts, your ideas, your body, which you recognized to be you at the time in your childhood. So so if you go even deeper inside of it, it's basically a feeling that you got in your childhood which was not a pleasant feeling. And if you are in control of your energies, you feel good. At if you master your energies, you feel good. But this was the first time you realized that the external world affects your energies. When someone said something to you, your energies went out of control. You felt offended, you felt humiliated, you felt put down. So, what happens is you feel out of control because your energies go out of control. Because this is the place, this is the time in your childhood when you're forming the ego. Your sense of identity is being formed during this time. And so, during this time, if someone threatens your sense of identity, you will still identify with it, but there will be some conflict there. So you are not completely identifying with it. You have some amount of shame or guilt because you are identifying with, say, being Indian. I mean, that's just a hypothetical example. I don't actually feel anything. I'm pretty proud of being an Indian. But yeah, that's just an example, or being fat or anything, you get my point, hopefully. So yeah, so basically it's a feeling of being out of control, that things are not in my control. And when this feeling keeps on growing, you feel like you are being attacked because you feel like you are in this peaceful state usually, but something can go wrong and it can make you feel unstable again. It can make you feel that threatened feeling again. So yeah, so this control can take form of many things again. You want to control your image, how society perceives you. You want to control your safety. So if you were physically abused when you were a child, you probably fear for your safety, even around some people. You don't want to be hit again. Safety for your finances. So if you had a rough financial childhood where you did not have money, maybe you have a lot of anxiety with money. So yeah, basically all of these anxieties of different things, people have anxiety of relationships, of finances, of job, of not being good enough, body image, whatever. All these anxieties, they all stem from the one thing, is that feeling of being threatened, the feeling of unsafety in this world. And that is because most of us, sometimes in our childhood, even though your family might be really good, but you still go to a school where there are so many bullies and you cannot be guarded all the time in your life. So we all have anxiety of different forms. It's just that for some people, it gets really triggered, especially if you are going through like a spiritual awakening or your kundalini awakens. It really pulls out all the anxiety out of you, and it's out there, in the open. So I think that's what happened to me, and I also was in quite a traumatic situation during my C-section, and when my son was born, when he was in the NICU. And so I had all of this anxiety inside me, which I had, which was somewhere in my subconscious. It all came up. Okay, so according to the chakras, this anxiety points us to the base chakra, which is the Muladhara chakra, which is the root chakra. And I have a video on this, so please see my video on how to heal the Muladhara chakra. All the methods are given there, and I think grounding is amazing. You can just go and walk barefoot in grass. It's the easiest way if you don't like meditation or mantra meditation or any of these things. Even visualizing grounding is very, very effective if you are indoors and you are feeling anxious and you don't have the luxury to go outside and walk barefoot. Just imagine that you are a strong tree. Yeah, so I share that visualization technique in the other video. So, um, again, I want to say, to completely heal this anxiety, a lot of inner work is required, which will happen little by little as time passes. And I would say, every time you feel anxiety, just again sit with it and try to question it, that what am I feeling? When was the last time I felt this way? When was the first time I felt this way? And yeah, just sit with it. It's just a feeling. It'll pass away. I know anxiety feels like a very, very rushed kind of a feeling, and you want to get over with it as soon as possible. But yeah, the more you struggle to get over with it, the more it will stay with you. So the more you are okay with it, the faster it'll go away. So you just kind of have to be okay with it. You have to be okay with being who you are. And a lot of that comes with self love. So you have to say, I am, and that's enough. You are, and that's enough. Nothing else needs to be said. I am this, I am that. None of that is required. You exist, and that is good. That is good enough. You don't have to be any way for anyone. You just have to exist, and you are going to exist. So yeah, that is one way. And so once you have gotten answers to to these questions, when was the last time I felt this way, when was the first time I felt this way, you can do some visualization. So you can go back to that childhood self of you, and you can help that childhood version of yourself, because at the time there was no one to help you. But now that you have learned and understood all of these things, you can go back and you can, like, care and cajole the younger self. And if you go back into the past and help your younger self, you will notice how the past changes, and how with the past the present can change too. And in a very in a more deeper way, you will realize that all those things that got you triggered, your thoughts, your skin color, your body shape, your nationality, your ethnicity, your English speaking skills, or whatever people targeted you about, you will realize these are just aspects of your personality, of the thoughts that you have picked up along the way. That's not who you really are. So if you realize your soul self, if you realize your soul, that you're just a soul actually, and you just have this body in this lifetime, if you get to that level of really feeling like a soul, then all these triggers will go away, because you will not associate with them anymore. Because once the ego dissolves, all these attributes that make you are gone, you know. But that's of course the next step. So until then, before that, I think the most important step right now is trying to heal the root chakra, and trying to really feel this, that I am, I exist. Forget all the qualities, forget being Indian, being a girl, being this clothes size, or this skin color, or whatever. Just forget all those things. Just remember that I am, I exist, and I will always exist. And if you feel that, if you really internalize that, nothing will be able to trigger you anymore. And little by little, the anxiety will go away, it will disappear. Yep, so this was my video on anxiety. I hope this helps you. And if you have any other ways of dealing with anxiety, please do write them out in the comments so that they help other people. I wish you all a lot of love and a lot of light. Thanks. Bye.